let's close with some examples of how you can use the law of cosines to answer real-world questions. And here's one. While walking in the woods with Robert Frost, you come to a fork in the road. Mr. Frost takes the path less traveled by, while you take the path more traveled by. So, let's draw a picture. You're walking together in the woods. You come to a fork. That fork diverges at 45 degrees. You travel this way. Robert Frost travels the other way. You proceed to walk at a rate of 4 miles per hour, while Robert Frost maintains a pace of 3 miles per hour due to path maintenance issues. What is the distance between the two of you in 1 hour? So, well, let's see. Let's draw a picture. So, there's your position after an hour. There's Robert Frost's position after an hour. You would like to know the straight line distance between. You want to know that distance. Ah, well, this is like exactly a law of cosines kind of situation. Do you know how long this side length is? I think you can, because that's the length of that side is how far you walked. Well, you walked 4 miles per hour for 1 hour. This length is how far Robert Frost traveled. Well, Robert Frost traveled 3 miles per hour for 1 hour. So you know that you covered a distance of 4 miles. Robert Frost covered a distance of 3 miles. You want to know what this distance is. Let's even call it D. Well, you know a side, and the angle at which they meet. This side is determined by the law of cosines. D squared is equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 4 times 3 times the cosine of 45 degrees. And let's just write that all out. D squared is 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. Minus 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Times the cosine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. So D squared is 25 minus, well, that 24 and that 2 are both even, so we can get rid of something. 12 square root 2. And, well, this is what D squared is. If I want to know what D is, I just take the square root of both sides. D is equal to the square root of 25 minus 12 times the square root of 2 in miles. Let's approximate that. Let's use a computer to estimate what that is. So using a machine, you don't need to see what I'm typing in, I don't think, at this point. The square root of 25 minus 12 times the square root of 2 is somewhere around 2.83 miles. Cool. So let's carry on. So here's another application-driven problem. Let's read it out. So you travel 3 miles due east. So you start at this point. You travel 3 miles due east. You end right there. You then turn 30 degrees to the north. So instead of traveling straight forward in that direction, you rotate 30 miles northwards and cover this one last mile. How far are you from your starting point? So what is the distance from here to there? Well, it's definitely less than 4. That's the triangle inequality. No side of a triangle can be longer than the sum of the other two sides. It looks like it's probably bigger than 3 miles, but let's figure out exactly how big it is. Again, this looks like a law of cosines problem. I know this distance. I know this distance. If I can figure out the angle at which those two lines meet, then I can figure out this distance, which maybe I'll continue to call d. Well, I don't explicitly have this angle yet, do I? But I could, because this angle plus 30 degrees will be 180 degrees. So if this angle, let's call it, I don't know, A. A plus 30 is 180. So the angle A is exactly 150 degrees. Nice. So now I know a lot more about this triangle. I know that, I'm going to redraw it. I know that that side length is 3 miles. I'll suppress the units because I know they're all miles. Then I turn north a little bit. This is an angle of 150 degrees. This length is 1 mile. There's the distance I would like to know. By the law of cosines, d squared is equal to 1 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 1 times 3 times the cosine of 150 degrees. So, writing that all out, 1 plus 9 minus 2 times 1 times 3 is 6 times the cosine of 150 degrees. That's 10 minus 6 times the cosine of 150 degrees. And notice that is not the same as 4 times the cosine of 150 degrees. Some of you have real difficulties with order of operations. Be careful with your manipulations. Finally, I guess I just have to take the square root of both sides. Right? This is d squared. So that means d is the square root of 10 minus 6 times the cosine of 150 degrees. And 150 degrees isn't a number that I see on the unit circle in that lookup table. So the best we can do is approximate it. And let's do that. The square root of 10 minus 6 times the cosine of 150 degrees is equal to somewhere around 3.80. And yeah, that agrees with what we said when we started this. It should be, less than 4 miles, but probably not much less than 4 miles. Great. So keep doing what you're doing. I'll talk to you in the next one.